Good morning. We will start our class today. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are discussing about convection diffusion problems, and we have discussed multiple schemes, right? So we had reviewed also what are convection diffusion problems in the last class, and basically we were interested in how to discretize this convective term del dot rho u phi. Other terms we already know how to discretize. Okay. And what are the schemes that we have studied? So we started with the central difference scheme. The basic assumption in the central difference scheme is that for the convective term, the interface value is the mean of the, so for any variable phi, the interface value is the mean of its adjacent grid point values. And we found that this scheme is inadequate, it is not suitable for high flow situations when the upstream side value should be dominating the interface value. But this is suitable for very low flow or no flow situations where diffusion is the dominant factor. The second scheme that we studied was known as upwind scheme, and where we removed this difficulty, and the idea was that the interface value is governed by only one side value or one side grid point value, the side from which the flow is coming. If flow is coming from left to right, the interface value will be equal to the value of P. If the flow is coming from right to left, the interface value will be equal to the value of E. This is for the convection term. Diffusion term was still like previously, like what we have studied, normal mean. Okay. And we found that this is very suitable for high speed flows, for high speed flow conditions. Okay. And then we studied the third scheme, which is known as the exponential scheme. And the exponential scheme was based on the exact solution. So we found that the exact solution for the 1D convection diffusion problem without source term and unsteady term is given by an exponential curve. And based on that, we calculated or we formulated a scheme which is known as the exponential scheme. Let me see, where is it? Okay. So the term looks complicated, but the idea was that it will mimic the analytical solution, and it will give exactly correct solution for 1D convection diffusion problem, but for even other types of problem like 2D or 3D also, it will be very accurate. And indeed it is very accurate, but the only difficulty is that it is very slow, because we need to calculate each exponential, and it takes lot of time to calculate, because it is a series of so it is a sum of a series. Each of the exponential is calculated by the sum of a series, and it takes a lot of time to calculate. So it's a slow uh, method, but it gives accurate result. So after that, in the previous class, we looked at two more schemes to round off this chapter, which were known as hybrid scheme and the power law scheme. So for both these schemes, the idea was that we will try to mimic the exponential scheme in behavior, but without using any exponential term. And I will not go into the details, we already discussed this. But instead of like the curve for A like this in exponential, we approximated it using three curves for the hybrid scheme. One from minus infinity to minus 2 Peclet number, then from minus 2 to plus 2 Peclet number, and another from plus 2 to positive infinity Peclet number. So this was for the hybrid scheme, and this is quite accurate and very easy to calculate, because there are no exponentials and only three straight lines need to be calculated, slopes and other things. The only problem is that there is still some inaccuracy or slight deviation from the exact solution in the region of Peclet number equal to 2, where the transition takes place. So to avoid that, a more accurate scheme was just stated, which is known as the power law scheme, which is given by four lines, okay, not straight lines, but four curves, okay. Two of them are straight lines and two are fifth order terms. And these four curves, actually, if you draw them You can try it in any software like MATLAB. It will almost exactly mimic the exponential behavior. You will not be able to see the difference with your means with naked eye. So you have to actually calculate the difference. It is so accurate. So the main advantage is that it is almost as accurate as the exponential scheme, but we don't need to calculate any exponentials. So it is much faster, and this is very widely used. Okay. So up till this we have discussed in the previous classes. Any questions? Excuse me. So all these schemes, different schemes, can be put together in a generalized form. Okay, all these different schemes can be put together in a generalized form, and we will see it today. And the advantage is that we can write a code, a general code, okay, without bothering about what scheme is going to be used, and just then supply it with just a single piece of data, which is required for a particular scheme. We will see later. So there is a table like this for different schemes. How this table comes, we will see. So for example, we need to give a data called A. Okay, we will see what is A. So for central difference scheme, it has a certain value. For upwind scheme, it has a certain value. For exponential, it has a certain value. Hybrid, power law. So we just need to provide this and then use our general code, and we can solve for any scheme depending on our requirement. Okay, so we can just write a single code and solve for any scheme depending on our requirement. So that is the idea behind the generalized formulation. So how to do this generalized formulation? Let us again consider our typical grid structure for 1D. Okay, so we have the ith grid point, which we call as P, the I plus 1th grid point, which we call as E, and the I minus 1th grid point, which we call as W in general. And our interface goes from this point, which we call as small w, to this line, blue line, which is small e. Okay, so which can also be denoted by I interface or I plus half and I minus half. Okay. And J is the overall flux. Okay, overall flux is the summation of the flux due to convection or advection. Okay, so movement of phi or transport of phi due to advection or due to flow from I to I plus 1, plus movement or transport of phi due to diffusion from I to I plus 1. So what is total flux? Total flux is the total transport of phi from I to I plus 1, means in the direction of the coordinate axis. So we are assuming that the coordinate axis is in the x direction. We are assuming that the x axis is in the from left to right, okay, like this. So in that direction, the flux is always calculated in the direction of the coordinate. Okay, so in this case, x positive is going from left to right. So our J is given from left to right, and it is given as the sum of the convective term, which is rho u phi, okay, and the diffusive term. Diffusive term is minus gamma d phi dx. Okay, so this is the extent of diffusion. This is similar to conduction problem minus k dt dx. So we can write this in non-dimensional form, J star. Okay, if we divide this by gamma by delta, okay, where gamma is the diffusivity, okay, diffusion coefficient, and delta is the distance between two adjacent grid points, okay, which previously we were calling as delta x or something like this. So here I am writing in terms of I minus 1, I and I plus 1 to make it like a general scheme which can be used for a computer program where you can run the loop of I from 2 to n minus 1. So if we write like this, J by gamma by delta, we get, so what is J? Rho u phi. So first term rho u by gamma by delta phi minus second term is gamma d phi. So gamma gamma gets cancelled and d phi, this delta will go down as dx by delta. Okay. So we can see that the first term rho u by gamma by delta. So rho u is the convective strength, advective strength, and gamma by delta is the diffusive strength. So this term is the Peclet number P. Okay, Peclet number where? Peclet number at the interface at this point. So P into phi minus d phi dx by delta. So x by delta is like a non-dimensional length. Okay, non-dimensional scale. So it's a non-dimensional term. Both the terms are non-dimensional. Peclet number is non-dimensional. This is also non-dimensional. So J star is equal to P phi minus d phi dx by delta. This phi at the interface. Okay, this phi, these are at the interface. J is, we are trying to calculate the flux at the interface. Okay, so we can assume that this is some weightage average of the adjacent grid point values. What is the weight? What is the extent of different weights for I and I plus 1? This will depend on different schemes and different Peclet numbers basically. So if the flow rate is high, I will have a higher weightage. If the flow rate is from this direction and very high, I plus 1 will have a high weightage. If the flow rate is very small, then I and I plus 1 will have equal weightage due to diffusion. Okay. So anyway, it is some form of average of phi I. Phi I is the value of phi at the ith grid point, and phi I plus 1. Okay. Some form of average of these two. Okay. Some weighted average. So let us take the weight as alpha for phi I. Okay. So this phi I can write as alpha into phi I plus 1 minus alpha into phi I plus 1, where alpha is the weight of phi I, and similarly 1 minus alpha is the weight of I plus 1. Okay, phi I plus 1. Alpha can vary. Alpha should be a function of what? Alpha should be a function of Peclet number, because it will depend on the flow velocity and flow direction. So it should become a function of Peclet number. And so I can write this advective term flux as P into this phi I will write as alpha phi I plus 1 minus alpha phi I plus 1. Similarly, the diffusive flux, diffusion is based on the difference of two values, right? So diffusion occurs due to difference. If the two values I and I plus 1 are equal, then there will not be any diffusion. So there will be a diffusive flux if the value of I is greater than I plus 1. There will be a diffusion from I to I plus 1. If the value of I plus 1 is greater than I, the diffusion will be from I plus 1 to I. Okay. So along the x direction, if we calculate, then the diffusion is from I to I plus 1. So we can write it as some factor beta, okay, into phi I minus phi I plus 1. So the difference in the two values into some factor, okay. This is the diffusive flux. So we can write the total flux now. This diagram is open here. Let me keep the text also open. Total flux is advective flux plus diffusive flux, which is P into alpha. So we will put all the phi I terms together, P alpha plus beta into phi I, and minus beta, okay, minus beta, for this minus beta, and if we take minus of this, it becomes minus P1 minus alpha, okay. So everything multiplied by phi I plus 1. So the term for phi I plus 1 is, the coefficient for phi I plus 1 is minus beta minus P into 1 minus alpha, okay, and the coefficient of phi I is P alpha plus beta. So this is the total flux in non-dimensional term. Okay. So we can write this P alpha plus beta as some value or some say coefficient B, okay, where B is a function of Peclet number, okay. Alpha, beta are functions of Peclet number. P also, P obviously is the Peclet number. B is a function of Peclet number. B into phi I, and this term we can write as minus A into phi I plus 1, where A is also a function of Peclet number. Beta and alpha are function of Peclet number, and we also have Peclet number here. So A is also a function of Peclet number. So J star is the overall flux, which is given in terms of these 2 point values, phi I and phi I plus 1, and these functions b and a, okay, which will depend on the Peclet number. And for different schemes, this will be different functions. We will see later. Okay. So for different scheme, b and a will have different values depending on how much weightage we are putting for the defined grid points. Okay. For example, for central different scheme, equal weightage is there for the 2 grid points. So similarly, for other schemes, it is different. So the this form of J star, okay, which is in terms of this unknowns b and a, okay, which are functions of Peclet number, and phi I and phi I plus 1 is the general form of the flux, okay, which is written in terms of two adjacent grid points. So it's the general form of flux at any interface written in terms of its adjacent grid points. So for this interface also I can write this in terms of phi I and phi I minus 1. What will be the value? It will be, so at this interface the flux is V into phi I minus 1, because this is the preceding. So B is always from the direction of the coordinate axis, okay, the left direction along the coordinate axis. If the coordinate axis was in this direction, B will be in the other side. Okay. So B into phi I minus 1 minus A into phi I. Okay, this will be the value here. Obviously, B and A will be different at this point, because this will be function of Peclet number, and Peclet number can be defined at these two locations. Peclet number can change at each point depending on the situation. Okay. So all these schemes can be represented in this form. We will see what are this form. A and B are non-dimensional coefficient, which are function of Peclet number P. Okay, and A is associated with the grid point ahead of the interface. We have seen already. So A is associated with this grid point and B is associated with this grid point. If we are talking about this interface, if we are talking about this interface, A is associated with this point and B is associated with this point. Okay. So A is associated with the grid point ahead of the interface and B is associated with the grid point behind the interface. How do you define ahead and behind? Not in the terms of flow, but in terms of the coordinate axis. If this is the positive direction of coordinate axis, then this is behind and this is ahead. Okay. If this was the coordinate axis, like this, something like this, then this will be behind and this will be ahead. Okay. But this is our standard notation. So this is our x direction. So let us look at some more features of this B and A. Okay. And we will see that they are related, so that if we only know one of them, A or B, the other can be easily calculated. Okay. And another feature also we will see that if we only know one of them for positive Peclet number, we can calculate it for the negative Peclet number. Okay. The function need not be same for positive and negative Peclet number. So it can be minus P for positive Peclet number, but 0 for negative Peclet number. Okay. So we have to also see that what is its value, whether we can extract some more features. So one is that what is B? B is P alpha plus beta. Okay, B is P alpha plus beta, and A is beta minus P1 minus alpha. So if you calculate B minus A, this P alpha and P alpha gets cancelled, and beta gets cancelled. Only P is left. So B minus A is P. So if you know what is the value of A in terms of Peclet number, say A is equal to P by 2. Okay. So then B will be 3P by 2, because B is equal to A plus P. Okay. So whatever is the value of A in terms of P, B can be calculated also in terms of P by using this relation. Okay. So B and A are always related in terms of this relation. B minus A is equal to Peclet number. Another feature we will notice is that B of P. So for positive values of Peclet number, okay, if we know what is B, this is equal to the value of A for negative values of Peclet number. Similarly, If we know what is the value of A for positive values of Peclet number, we can find out what is B for negative values of Peclet number. What it means, let me just explain, and then we will see how is it actually relevant or useful, because this might be somewhat confusing. First part I think is okay. This is easy. The second part might be somewhat confusing. So we can assume, we can do a thought experiment. Okay. So let us consider that there is a 1D problem, and in one case we are considering that this is the coordinate direction, positive x direction. Okay, and there is a flow with a Peclet number, certain flow which is occurring from this direction with Peclet number p. Okay, in this coordinate axis, because Peclet number will depend on the coordinate axis, right? So it is dependent on the direction. What is Peclet number? Rho u by gamma by delta. So u will depend on the direction of coordinate axis. So u positive in this coordinate will be u negative in this coordinate. So we are assuming this coordinate axis. So u is positive, Peclet number is positive. Okay. Certain Peclet number we are considering. Okay. In this Peclet number, like in this coordinate axis, we can write the flux as B of phi I, flux at this interface as flux at this interfaces P of phi I minus A of phi I plus 1, based on our original say discretization, generalized discretization scheme. Okay, B of phi I minus A of phi I plus 1. Where is the B and A calculated? B and A are functions of Peclet number at the interface, at this interface. Okay, so flux is B of phi I, B into phi I, where B is a function of Peclet number, minus A into phi I plus 1, where A is a function of Peclet number. Okay. Now we will calculate the same problem, we will solve the same problem, but in a reversed coordinate direction. Okay, this is x. Forget about this top part. It's a 1D problem. It's a 1D problem. So now this is our coordinate direction. This is our coordinate direction. Okay. The physical problem still remains same, right? The flow is still occurring in this direction with the same velocity. Physical problem does not depend on coordinate. We can select any coordinate. Physical problem does not bother about coordinate direction. It's the actual problem. So it's occurring from left to right. So in this coordinate system, u will be negative and Peclet number will be equal to minus p. Okay. In this coordinate system, Peclet number will be equal to minus p. Value will remain same, but the means magnitude will remain same, but the direction will be opposite. So Peclet number will be minus p. So in this coordinate system, the Peclet number at this point is minus p. Okay, and this is now the grid point ahead of the interface, and this is the grid point behind the interface. We can write the flux as, so B of phi I plus 1, B into phi I plus 1. Okay, because this is behind now the interface. We always write B as the coefficient, so B into phi I minus I plus 1, and B is a function of minus P, because Peclet number now is minus P. Minus A also is a function of minus P, because Peclet number is minus P. A into minus A of minus P into the grid point value ahead of the interface, which is phi I. Okay, this is the flux in this direction. Flux is always calculated in the direction of the coordinate. Okay, the flux along this direction was BP phi I minus AP phi I plus 1. The flux in the other direction based on this coordinate axis is B minus P phi I plus 1 minus A minus P phi I. Okay, so these two we can equate. So BP phi I minus AP phi I plus 1 is equal to negative of this flux, because it was in the other direction, minus B minus P phi I plus 1 minus A minus P phi I. Okay. So if you compare the coefficients of phi I, B of P is equal to A of minus P. Okay, B of P is equal to A of minus P. Negative negative gets cancelled. And A of P is equal to B of P minus P. Okay, what does it mean? So what does it mean? I will show you with an example. But what it means is that, say there A of A is equal to say is equal to something like this, okay, 1 plus p by 2. So it will mean that, so if this is valid for the positive Peclet number, for negative Peclet number, okay, if this is valid for positive Peclet number, for negative Peclet number b of minus p, so negative Peclet number b will be equal to 1 minus p by 2, okay. We will see this later. And then we can calculate what will be the negative Peclet number, a for negative Peclet number by adding by b minus p, something like that. Okay, maybe some plus minus mistakes were there in my case. You have to check, but like this it can be found. Okay. So hence, if we calculate AP only for positive value of p, okay, if we calculate AP only for positive value of p for a scheme, okay, then we can find out all the other, the entire range of A and B. Okay, how will we find? If we calculate AP for positive value of P, we can find out BP also for positive value of P using this expression B minus A is equal to P. Okay, and then for negative values we can use these expressions and we will find A and B for the negative values of P. Okay, so if we just denote any scheme by AP, we will be able to denote the entire scheme instead of trying to memorize or trying to write down the entire schemes in terms of complex values like this. For example, if you see the value for the exponential scheme, why is it so slow? This was our exponential scheme. Okay, you can see that it is somewhat tricky to remember. I don't recommend it you to memorize also. This you should be able to derive, but you do not need to memorize. So this is the exponential scheme, but now we don't need all this. Okay, if we can just know what is A of P for exponential scheme, which we will see later in this table, that for exponential scheme A of P is P by e to the power P minus 1. We will be able to find out all the coefficients, okay, and the entire scheme will be, we will be able to use just by. So in the program we can write a general program, and then we can, if the program tells that we have to use exponential scheme, we can just replace A by this and entire thing will be calculated. I will show you with an example. So now let us try to derive the generalized scheme. Okay, we have just seen for one interface, but overall, if you remember the 1D convection diffusion problem, 1D convection diffusion problem, we can write in terms as, again going back to here, d dx of rho u phi is equal to d dx of gamma d phi dx. This is the 1D convection diffusion problem without source and without unsteady term. And in terms of, where we have written it, somewhere we must have written. In terms of J, we must have written somewhere. Yes. So in terms of total flux, the governing equation is given as dj dx equal to 0, where J is the flux having the advective term rho u phi and the diffusive term minus gamma d phi dx. Okay. So dj dx is equal to 0. So the non-dimensional equation is dj star dx star equal to 0, or j star at this point is equal to j star at this point. Okay, the flux at this point is equal to the flux at this point. Obviously, this is understandable. Why? Because there is no source term. So as there is no source term, whatever flux comes from here should go out from the other side. Okay, because there cannot be any accumulation, or source term is also not there. The flux is same to maintain balance, the balance of flux. So J star is equal to JW star, where J star is the flux at this point and JW star is the flux at this point. Now we can write J star. Remember the east face. So we have defined this scheme for discretization. So any J star can be written in terms of the preceding value P phi I. So here phi I is phi P. This is the preceding value phi P. Again we are just denoting the normal coordinate direction. So phi P into B. Okay, phi P into B. Where is this B calculated? B is calculated at this interface in terms of the interface Peclet number. So B is a function of Peclet number at the east interface. So B into phi P minus A into phi E, right? Minus A into phi E, and A is also a function of this interface Peclet number. Okay. So this is for J star. Similarly, we can write JW star. Now the preceding value is phi W. So B PW phi W. PW is the Peclet number at the west interface. I am having a severe headache. Just wait for a minute. All right. You can still hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now this preceding value is B, which is a function of Peclet number at this west interface, into phi W minus A into phi P. Okay, because phi P now is the value ahead of the interface, and A is a function of PW. Okay. So obviously this B and this A are different from this B and this A. It can be same also if P is equal to PW, which will be the case in this case because there is no flow accumulation, but it could have been different. Okay. So BP, so now we can write, we can put together all the phi P terms like we used to do. So phi P, if we put together both the phi P terms, this term and this term, so we have BP plus APW into phi P. Okay. So BP plus APW is the coefficient of phi P, and this term we will take to the other side. So we have AP into phi plus BPW into phi W. Okay. This is known as the generalized discretized equation. This is of the same form as our original equations. AP phi P is equal to AE phi E plus AW phi W. Okay. Here AP is this B plus B of Peclet number, B which is a function of Peclet number at the east interface, plus A which is a function of Peclet number at the west interface. So this is AP, and A is equal to A as function of Peclet number at the east interface, and AW is equal to B as function of Peclet number at the west interface. So, but in non-dimensional form. This is the generalized discretized equation in non-dimensional form, and this is similar to AP phi P is equal to A phi E plus AW phi W. The coefficients are in non-dimensional form. So now we can understand what is the significance of our previous discussion on this. Okay, these two relations. So say we know the value of, for a scheme, for any scheme, say for central difference scheme or exponential scheme, we know the value of A. Okay. A we can, so as a function, so A is equal to 1 minus, let me see, 1 minus P, I think, P by 2, yes, 1 minus P by 2. So we know the value that A is equal to 1 minus P by 2 for positive values of P. Okay. So we can automatically calculate the value of A at this point, okay, because P at this point is equal to Peclet number at each interface. So the value is 3 or 5, whatever. So 1 minus 3 by 2, okay, somewhat like this. And we can then calculate B at Peclet number at the same location also. How? Because B is equal to A plus P. Okay. So because A is 1 minus P by 2, B is equal to 1 plus P by 2. So if P is 3 at this point, we can calculate that B is equal to 1 plus 3 by 2. Similarly, if we know what is the Peclet number here, A is 1 minus P by 2 in terms of this Peclet number, 1 minus PW by 2. So B will be 1 plus PW by 2. We can calculate. If the Peclet number is negative, then also we can calculate. Okay. So we just need to store the value of A as a function of Peclet number for positive values of Peclet number, and then we will be able to solve any equation using this, or any of the schemes, implement any of the schemes using this generalized discretized equation. Okay. So this is the idea behind deriving the generalized discretized equation. Let me go through an example, and then if the understanding is not clear, you can ask questions. If you go to previous discussion of central difference scheme, you will see that we have previously derived AES D minus FE by 2 and AWS DW plus FW by 2 and AP as AE plus AW plus FE minus FW, and FE is equal to FW by continuity equation. So this term gets cancelled. So AP is equal to AE plus AW, and we were writing the discretized equation as AP phi P is equal to AE phi plus AW phi W. Okay, so we have to calculate the value of this coefficient AE, AP and AW and supply it to the solver, and then the solver can solve the equation, say n equations for n unknowns, and find out all the value of phi. So if you non-dimensionalize this, how do we non-dimensional? By dividing by gamma by delta, okay, which is the diffusive strength D. Okay, so in non-dimensional form, the coefficient of phi E, say this phi non-dimensional coefficient of phi will be AE by DE. Okay, so which is DE by DE minus FE by 2DE. So DE by DE is 1 and FE by 2DE is PE by 2, because FE by DE is the Peclet number. So 1 minus Peclet number by 2. So this is the form of the coefficient of non-dimensional coefficient of AE. Okay, so because this should be equal to what? Coefficient of AE should be, coefficient of phi should be A of Peclet number at each interface. Okay, so A of P is equal to 1 minus P by 2. So the function A is 1 minus P by 2. Okay, for central difference scheme, A is equal to 1 minus P by 2 for central difference. Similarly, we can derive for any other scheme also, but this is how it can be derived for. So we can also verify that what will be B by using this, but we can directly calculate B using our equation, that B is equal to A plus P. Okay. So for example, at the east interface, B of P is equal to P plus A of P. Okay. So A of P is 1 minus P by 2 plus P, so it becomes 1 plus P by 2. So B of P is equal to 1 plus P by 2. Okay. In general, B is equal to 1 plus P by 2 for central difference scheme. Okay. Similarly, A of PW is 1 minus PW by 2, because this is valid for the, like A is equal to 1 minus P by 2 for the central difference scheme. Similarly, B is equal to, B of PW is equal to 1 plus PW by 2. Whatever were the values of P and PW, we can calculate the values of A and B at both the east interface and the west interface. And once they can be calculated, we can supply them in this equation. Okay. So J star is equal to JW star, or this equation is the same equation, BPE plus APW phi P is equal to AP phi plus BPW phi W. So what is BP? We have calculated 1 plus P by 2. APW is 1 minus PW by 2 into phi P, and then again this is APE, okay, which is 1 minus P by 2, and BPW, okay, which is 1 plus PW by 2 phi W. So you can verify that the coefficients are same as the coefficients we have previously obtained, okay, for the central difference scheme. These coefficients are same. How will we verify? These were the coefficients, right? And look at the coefficients. A is equal to D minus FE by 2 in non-dimensional form. We have to divide by D, so it becomes 1 minus P by 2. AW was DW plus FW by 2 in non-dimensional form. this becomes 1 dW by dW, so 1 plus Pw by 2. Okay. We are non-dimensionalizing by the diffusion strength at local diffusion strength, and AP is equal to AE plus AW. Okay. AE plus AW. So AE plus AW is 1 minus P by 2 plus 1 plus Pw by 2 minus plus Fe. So this in non-dimensional form will be Fe by d. So plus P. So 1 minus P by 2 plus P becomes 1 plus P by 2 and minus Pw. So 1 plus Pw by 2 minus Pw becomes 1 minus Pw by 2. So these coefficients are same as the coefficients that we had obtained previously for the central difference scheme, but these are in non-dimensional form. Okay. So the idea is that if we just know that the A of A value is 1 minus P by 2 for central difference scheme, we can calculate the entire scheme based on that value. Okay. And we can solve using the generalized discretized equation. So if we know that for central difference scheme A of P is 1 minus P by 2, all the coefficients can be directly calculated. Then the values can be plugged in the generalized discretized equation. So similarly, I will not do it. You can try to do it on your own. For any other scheme also, we can calculate what will be the value of A. Okay. For upwind scheme, it comes out as 1 plus maximum of minus P and 0. Okay. So if you know A, then you can obviously calculate B from A. So for exponential scheme, this comes out as P by e to the power P minus 1. For hybrid scheme, it comes out as maximum of minus P, 1 minus P by 2 and 0. And for power law scheme, this comes out to be maximum of 0 and 1 minus 0.1 absolute value of Peclet number to the power 5 plus maximum of 0 minus P. Okay. So these are the value of A. So we can write the code for a generalized discretized scheme, and then we can just substitute what will be the function of A. We can just call a subroutine to substitute that A should be the function of, or we can call a function that A is equal to say P by e to the power P minus 1. And similarly, then we can calculate all the values at all the points. We did not write a separate code for each of these schemes. This is the idea. Any questions? Think about it and try to also see that you can derive these things. Okay. Let us take a small break and then we will continue. Sorry, I got delayed a bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll continue. Any questions? Let us continue. Okay. So this is like what we had to discuss in regarding the discretization of the convective term. Okay. So at this point, you should be in a position, if you know what is the velocity field, then you should be able to calculate the velocity at all the interfaces by interpolation. Or at this point, we do not know that what we have to store velocity. Say the velocities are stored at the grid points. So you should be able to calculate the velocities at the interfaces by interpolation and then find the Peclet number at each interface, and then use any of these schemes to discretize the governing equations. Okay, even including the steady state, unsteady term and source term, because that already we know how to do, and should be able to write a code for that if you want to write for project or anything. So any of these schemes should be possible. Even upwind scheme is, I don't recommend central difference scheme, but upwind scheme is also very widely used. So that also is actually, because it is very simple to implement and it gives quite accurate results when the flow is flow velocity is high. Okay, so it is also, you can try to implement one of these cases for practice. So one more phenomena is left before we pause and discuss about projects and other things. And then we have two chapters. One is on this solution of the flow equations, and one is the additional materials, which is not part of the syllabus, but I have included them because there is sufficient time, and which is important for you, which is how to discretize in case of non-regular, irregular grid structure. Okay, when the grid structure is not rectangular, how to discretize. So anyway, so there is a phenomena called false diffusion, which is sometimes encountered. Okay, so we need to know what is this. Okay, it is like a it occurs in many cases, and it's like a spurious diffusion. Means even if there is no diffusion, the calculations result in a sort of diffusion in the domain, which is because of numerical inaccuracy. So it depends on the schemes. Okay, it depends on the schemes, and it is because of it is also like a numerical diffusion. Okay, obviously this is not physical, non-physical, so it is like an error. Okay. So let us try to understand this when it occurs, and we cannot do anything directly to avoid it, but when it occurs, and what is it? So we will consider a case where hot fluid is flowing over a plane and cold fluid is flowing below the plane. Like they are, means the plane is a hypothetical plane. Okay, so they are free to mix together. Okay, in the case where there is, so they are like they are not mixing together, but they are free to transfer heat from one side to the other side if there is diffusivity. If there is no diffusivity, then there will not be any heat transfer because there is no flow in the perpendicular direction. So the hot fluid says, say at temperature 100 degrees centigrade is flowing like this, and the cold fluid maybe say at 30 degrees centigrade is flowing like this. Okay. So if the diffusivity is non-zero, which is the realistic case, if the diffusivity is non-zero, means there is conduction. Okay, there is diffusion of temperature. So how will the temperature profile look like? So initially the temperature profile is like this. Initially, so at this point before they start mixing, the temperature is high up to the interface, then there is a jump, and then we have low temperature. Okay, this is the direction of temperature T. This denotes how much, what is the temperature. So we have high temperature at the top, low temperature at the bottom. After the means after they are allowed to diffuse, okay, the temperature profile looks like this. At the top, far away, where there is no diffusion or no effect of diffusion still, it is still the high temperature, and at the bottom also, far away from the central axis, where the effect of diffusion has still not caught up, the temperature is the low temperature. But in between, there is a transition of temperature. Okay, there is a temperature gradient that is set up due to diffusion. Okay, so under steady state, if it occurs for a long time, it will become like a straight line, but initially it is like this. So this is the temperature profile. On the other hand, if diffusivity is 0, there is no diffusion, then the temperature profile will remain same, because there is no diffusion, there cannot be any heat exchange, right? Because there is no flow in the perpendicular direction also. So this is the temperature profile in that case. Okay. So our numerical scheme also should capture this, that if the diffusivity is 0, the temperature should remain like this along the flow direction. If the diffusivity is non-zero, the temperature profile should become like this in the flow direction. Okay. So this should be captured by our discretization scheme. If we see that in this case also the temperature profile becomes something like this, it means that although the diffusivity is 0, some spurious diffusion has occurred, or the scheme has predicted some diffusion which is not there. So that is known as false diffusion. Okay, so we will see when that occurs. That spurious diffusion, even in this case, if we find that the temperature profile becomes like that, this is known as false diffusion. So we can write, we can set up the problem like this hypothetical problem, this problem in terms of some numerical values. So say we have 6 grid points across the flow direction, 3 on the top of this separation line and 3 on the bottom. The fluid on the top has 100 degree centigrade temperature, fluid on the bottom has 0 degree centigrade temperature, and the number of grid points are there along the flow direction. Okay, we are not bothered with it. So what are the values? So we will be trying to look at the gamma equal to 0 case. Okay, because it can be clear in this case that even if there is slight diffusion, false diffusion, it will be clear because the temperature profile should remain sharp like this. Okay. Just a second. So again, if you go back to your notes, or if you remember them, A is equal to D minus Fe by 2 for the central defined scheme. So D is 0 because gamma is 0, diffusivity is 0, so diffusion strength is 0. So A is equal to minus Fe by 2. And AW is equal to DW plus FW by 2. So AW is equal to FW by 2. Okay. AN, because it's a 2D problem, AN is equal to DN minus FN by 2. Now DN is 0 because diffusivity is 0. And Fn is 0. Fn is the convective strength along the end, means along at the north interface. Okay. So because there is no flow along the y direction, Fn and Fs are 0. Flow along the y direction is 0. Okay, Fn and Fs are 0. So Dn and Ds are also 0 because there is no diffusivity. So An and As are also 0. Okay. So ultimately Ap will become equal to Ae plus Aw plus 0 plus 0 plus Fe minus Fw, again plus 0 minus 0. So Ae plus Aw plus Fe minus Fw. Okay, because all the other terms are 0. And Ae is equal to minus Fe by 2 and Aw is Fw by 2. So Ae plus Aw is equal to Fw minus Fe by 2. By continuity equation, Fw is equal to Fe. So this Ae plus Aw becomes equal to 0. And Fe minus Fw also by continuity equation is 0. So as Ap is equal to 0, we cannot solve an equation of the form Ap phi p is equal to Ae phi plus Aw phi w, because phi p will become equal to summation of Anb phi nb by Ap. Okay, and like there is a division by 0, so it cannot be used. So we know that. So that is what we have found also, that central defined scheme cannot be used in this case. If you remember our discussion long back, we have discussed that central defined scheme cannot be used in the 0 diffusivity case or the limit of 0 diffusivity case. Why? Precisely because of this reason, that Ap becomes equal to 0. Okay, and there is a division by 0, and also the Peclet number becomes infinite, and we know that central difference scheme cannot perform at large Peclet numbers. Okay, so we have studied this. So our central difference scheme is of no use for this case. Okay, so let us try another scheme, the upwind scheme. Okay, this case will be open here. So if you go back to the notes again for the upwind scheme. So up to this point, any questions? So for gamma equal to 0 case, central difference scheme cannot be used. That we have established previously also, but I have shown you now again by an example. Okay. So the next best option, next easiest option is the upwind scheme. Let us try to see the upwind scheme. Okay. So upwind scheme says that A is equal to D plus maximum of minus F0 and AW is equal to DW plus maximum of FW0. Okay. This you can go back to the notes to check. Let us do that once. dV plus maximum of minus Fe0 and dW plus maximum of Fw0. Okay. So dE plus maximum of minus Fe0 and dW plus maximum of Fw0. So this is AE and AW. So D is 0, dW is 0 because diffusivity is 0. As the flow is from this direction, flow is positive, F is positive. So because Fe is positive, minus Fe is negative. So maximum of negative and 0 is 0. So this term also becomes 0. So A is equal to 0. And this is what we expect also. If the flow is from this direction, the upstream side should have the influence, not the downstream side. So A should not have any influence, AW should have the influence. Okay. Similarly, we can find that dW is 0 and maximum FW 0 is FW. FW is positive. Okay. So AW is equal to FW. You can also verify that AN and AS are 0 because both the diffusive term is 0 by the definition of the problem, and convective terms are 0 because there is no flow along the y direction. So AN and AS are 0. So ultimately we are just left with AW. Okay, and because all other terms are 0, you will find that AP is equal to AW. Okay. So AP phi P is equal to AW phi W, or phi P is equal to phi W. Okay, because AP is equal to AW. All the other terms are 0, gets cancelled. So ultimately phi P is equal to phi W. So what does it mean? So for any point, okay, say this point, if we want to calculate, this is P. So phi P is equal to phi W, which is the west point. Okay, no influence of east point or north or south. Okay, so phi P is equal to phi W. So this also becomes 100 degree centigrade because this is 100 degree centigrade, this also 100 degree centigrade. Similarly, this point phi P is equal to phi W. So this is equal to this. So this also becomes 100 degree centigrade. This also becomes 100 degree centigrade. This becomes 0 degree centigrade. This is 0 degree and this is 0 degree. Okay. Because again of the same reason that phi P is equal to phi W. Okay. So, and again in the next grid point also same thing will be conserved. So we will see that these points are equal to the values here are equal to the values here. Similarly, the values here, this value is equal to this value is equal to this value, and this value is equal to. So all the points along this direction will maintain the temperature 100, 100, 100 and 0, 0, 0. So it means that we get the temperature profile using this scheme, which is the correct temperature profile, which we expected, like this profile. This is preserved. At any location, if you find the temperature profile, it is like this. Okay, this is preserved. So upstream side value is propagated directly. The discontinuity between, so this is the important thing. The discontinuity between the hot and cold fluid is preserved. Okay. So this is accurate and similar to the physical problem. So there is no problem here. It's good. All is good here. Okay. Now we will consider the same problem Exactly same problem, but we will orient the our axis, okay, coordinate axis by 45 degree. Okay, so we'll take the coordinate axis like this. We'll take the coordinate axis like this, 45-degree angle. Okay, physical problem is still physical problem, right? So whatever is the coordinate axis, it does not matter. The problem should remain same. Problem, physical problem is independent of the coordinate axis. So it is coordinate axis, we are defining something. So whatever is the problem, it should still remain same. So the solution should still be that in this direction, the temperature profile is preserved. Okay, in this direction. So this is the 45-degree direction. So along the 45-degree direction, the temperature profile should be preserved. Okay, in this coordinate axis. This should be the case. If we reorient this and look in terms of the coordinate axis along the 45-degree line, the temperature value should be preserved. Okay, so we will try to look at this problem in the same way. So this is the same problem now. This is our, so this coordinate axis now I am looking it by orienting or by rotating it by 45 degree. Okay, so now this line actually is 45 at a 45-degree angle. Okay, this line is at a 45-degree angle, and this is the hot fluid, this is the cold fluid. Exactly same problem. Hot fluid at 100 degree centigrade, cold fluid at 0 degree centigrade, and this is the dividing line which goes at 45 degree. Okay, in this new coordinate axis. Actually, I have rotated the coordinate axis in the wrong direction. It should have been like this. This is the coordinate axis, and this is the line. Okay. This is this case. We have rotated the coordinate axis downward by 45 degree. So the line is now at a 45-degree angle. So again, these grid points at these points should be 0, 100, 100, 100, because this is above the line, right? All these points should be at 100. All these points below the line should be at 0 degree centigrade. These are the boundary conditions for our problem. And this point which is on the line, we can take the average, because it is on the line, we will take the average as 100 plus 0 by 2, which is 50. So these are the boundary condition. Okay. These are 100 and these are 0, and this is 50. So again, if we use upwind scheme, so please remember that this is the exact same problem. Only thing is that the coordinate axis is rotated. Other things are exactly same. We will be able to easily see that in this case, AE is equal to AN is equal to 0. So AE and AN, so say this is point P. Okay, this is some point P. Okay. So AN is this point. So phi n is this point, or n is this point. This is east, this is west, and this is, so this is south and this is west. Okay. So north and east should not have any contribution, because this is ahead of the interface in the flow direction. Okay. So ahead, so it A and N, you can also calculate that this will be equal to 0. And these two should have equal contribution. These are the preceding points before this point, okay, in the flow direction, preceding points, and at equidistant. So AW should be equal to AS. Again, this can be calculated, but by using common logic also you can see that AW should be equal to AS. Okay, because it is 45-degree angle. Otherwise, they would not be equal. And we can easily calculate that AP is equal to, because AN and AE is 0, and by continuity equation, FE plus FW plus FN and FS minus FS is 0. So AP is equal to AFW plus AS. Okay. So if we put this together, so AP is equal to 2AW or 2AS, because AE is equal to AW is equal to AS. Okay. Or you put this together, we will get that phi P is equal to phi W plus phi S by 2. So any point is equal to the value at this point plus the value of this point divided by 2. Okay. So for the first point, this point is 100, this point is 0. 100 plus 0 by 2, this is 50. And this is what we expect, that along the line it should be 50. And we find that it is 50, so it is correct. Okay, because along the line we cannot differentiate, we will assume that it is the average. But now what about this point? This is equal to, by our scheme, this is equal to this value plus this value by 2. 100 plus 50 by 2, 75. But actually this should have been 100. But our scheme is telling us that this is 75. Similarly, this value 50 plus 0 by 2. So this is 25. You can calculate the next values like this. Okay, this value you can calculate 100 plus 75 by 2. Okay, 87.5. And then this value you can calculate 87.5 plus 50 by 2. So 137.5 by 2. So 68.75. Okay. So you can see that gradually the temperature profile is spreading. You will see that the temperature profile becomes like this in the flow direction. Okay. So if I draw the temperature profile, so it is becoming like this. It's difficult to draw in this axis. You will get confused, more confused. Why is it not getting deleted? Anyway, I will not draw it because you will get more confused. The thing is that it should have been 100 all on the top of the line and 0 below the line, and along the line it should have been 50. So along the line it is preserved, but here you will see that gradually it is diffusing. So it becomes slightly more than 50, then somewhat more than, so it is 60 something, then this becomes 80 something, then 100 like this. So gradually it is spreading out. But there is no diffusivity. So why is it spreading out? This is because of the scheme only. Okay. So this is known as, this is what we call as false diffusion. And this occurs if we use the upwind scheme or similar schemes. And the coordinate direction is not aligned to the flow direction. Now, obviously, in a realistic problem, we select the coordinate, but we do not select the flow direction. Flow can be in random direction. Flow can occur like this, whatever, right? So it can occur, there can be vortices, other things. So you cannot ensure that flow is always aligned to the axis. Okay. So in only very limited cases, flow will be aligned to the axis. Most cases, flow is not aligned to the axis. So there will be some numerical error like this. Now what happens is that in most cases, the actual diffusivity is much higher than the numerical error. So this does not come into picture. But we should keep in mind that if a problem is there with very low diffusivity, this type of spurious results may arise, and we should be careful to analyze the result. We should not infer that some wrong results. We should understand that this is because of error in the numerical calculation, not a physically correct result. Okay. So this is due to numerical diffusion and is known as false diffusion. Okay. So, and it can be minimized if you know the flow direction and align the grid along the flow direction, but obviously it is not possible in most of the cases. So some simple cylindrical flow, it might be possible, but in real life problem with complex flow direction, it might not be possible. Okay. And it is also can be significantly less if there is sufficient diffusion, which is the case for most real life problems. So this numerical error is small as compared to that. So we'll stop here today, and next class, one class I want to discuss about the project. I have to prepare for that, and then we will start about the flow field. And the Wednesday, I am not sure whether there. So let us assume that there will be class on Wednesday. There is convocation. So ultimately, what will be decided, I am not sure. I also have duty in the convocation, but it should finish by 3:30, which is the time of our class. Let us see, because we have to take that class. So if it does not occur on that day, it will be like we will be asked to take it on some other day. So we will see later on. Any questions? Otherwise, we'll stop here today and meet